Yeah, well, Remix Comics always has like two layers. It's on one hand it's about comics about heritage, and on the other hand also comics as heritage. We don't take heritage as a frozen thing from the past, something solid, but also something that's alive, so that we can create new heritage.
We are a very visual generation also with the internet, and it helps to, the comic is a sequence of images and you can click through it and be inside like in a movie, but you can also use a lot of visual information which you are not able to make a photo or a film about. So the comic has a lot of options for journalism or for science or art, whatever.
The old, say, commercial forms of comics is losing terrain because all new forms of entertainment are getting bigger and bigger, like from games to social media. But on the other hand, comics are much more important now. For example, in newspapers are more documentary comics, comics journalism is more important, and comics as a didactic, non-fictional comics that is really booming and getting bigger and bigger. Comics is both this global phenomenon and it's really, accessible because, as you said, they're images. So it's even, we don't read Serbian, we can still look at the images of comics over here. So it's really inspiring to see all these different local scenes that do different things, and therefore events like this are really important.
What I'm interested in is individual stories that in the end tell a collective narrative. So I've been showing examples from comics artists based in many different places in order to show that individual stories are very important. Individual stories need to be told, and they can be told in many different ways through comics. And thanks to that, we learn about major, bigger themes or historical or cultural contexts. And even if we're not from those places, we can empathize with these different stories because the stories are personal. And I think comics is all about connection. And without connection, we can't really rewrite our narratives or share our heritage. So that connection is very important.
As a museum curator, I thought that we could do something in this field because comics as a medium has great potential in dissemination of different content. Also in the field of pedagogy, field of history, museum curatorship, and it can provide us the possibilities to attract new audiences to the museums.
An exhibition about comics is a very, very complex thing, and you can address different things there naturally and address them. And you can mark these layers of interpretation, so you can just mark them as what they are, that is subjective. So you don't have this claim on showing something in an objective way, because there is no objective way.
Comics are an excellent way to tell stories, so you can tell personal stories about news-related events, and they give more background and context to the actual facts. So people can relate to it more because they can emphasize with the people who are in these comic stories.
We have like comics about collectives and about communities, and comics as collectives and as communities. So we have formed a collective already, let's say the Remix Comics Collective, which is transnational, it's interdisciplinary. So we try to reach out to these collectives as a collective and learn about communities through comics, through interpreting their stories in visual language and textual language, and in the combination of these vocabularies.
Comics is not a perfect medium. All media can be used for good and for bad, but the strength of comics also is how low-key and low-tech it is. You can make a comic quite easily. It's not like making a movie. You can distribute it online. You can make it into a webtoon on your mobile, and you can reach people very, very quickly and directly. And this allows for a lot more personal communication and a lot more for material that is not necessarily official or approved by the people who are controlling our lives. So as a space for free thought and free expression, comics remain very, very powerful.
Yeah, the hero can be subversive too. It can be also from community that is outside, who is not seen as a winner. Like you speak about people with mental disability, for example. It's sure that that also the story of comics has changed a lot also, and is still changing.
Yeah, usually I always like to define myself as an apolitical or as somebody who's not interested to make political statement, but unfortunately, being from where I am, everything you do is political anyway, like just drawing is political. And then events invite themselves in my work rather than the contrary. So when this kind of war happens with Israel, I cannot continue working on something else. So it's more the politics that forces itself into my work, and then I have to react, and this is where my work becomes heavily political.
In my book I try for the reader to step into the shoes of someone with a mental disability, so that maybe the gap that sometimes is between people that are with disability and people that are without disability gets a bit smaller, and maybe we can create some understanding of the other group.
always difficult to find, to reach the targets. Making comics is a process. It's not about like a to-do list that you just check off and then you reach the target. So maybe in a few years we will know whether we reached the targets that we have set or that we have realized certain things that we wanted to realize. But for now I can already see that Remix Comics is functioning somehow as a collective. There's new connections, new networks, new infrastructures have been made for developing other contemporary comics. And so there's good hope that we're on the right path.